Hey y'all, this is Wendy. This is Wendy's Pretty Perfume. This is my perfume channel where I talk about perfume. Today I'm going to do a perfume review for the perfume from Givenchy L'Interdit. No, not the one that is on the shelf right now. Not the one from 2018 from Givenchy slash LVMH that already has a billion flankers, and it was originally this kind of like gourmand orange blossom. The one I'm going to be speaking about is the vintage one from the 1950s that was originally commissioned for Audrey Hepburn. I have just a decant of that because the original bottle I had, actually the sprayer just broke, and I had to, this is what I do for perfume, I had to break into the bottle and crack it open, and I had to decant it. So I only have about 20 mils left of that. And then I also have the very faithful in spirit reissue of L'Interdit Givenchy. In about 2006, they decided to re-release and reformulate, for better or for worse, because it's been a long time, a lot of their classics. Like, so they have their Vetiver, they have this one, they have Emerage, they re-released. So I'm going to talk about these two, which this is like the OG L'Interdit. Really, for better or for worse, has nothing to do with what's on the shelf today. So, okay, so 1950s perfume came out in 1954, originally commissioned for Audrey Hepburn, just because apparently she was the it girl of the time. She was that amazing that the company Givenchy, which was independently owned by the time by Mr. Givenchy, he decided, hey, Audrey, you're just, mademoiselle, you are amazing, you're wonderful. I'm going to have a special perfume commissioned just for you, and it's going to be yours. The person that he got to do it was this guy named Mr. Febron, Francis Febron, I believe, and he did the Nina Ricci perfume L'air du Temps in 1948. So just to give an idea of the time period that this perfume was made in and what things smelled like at that time. The other thing to keep in mind is that this was also when Chanel No. 5 came out with their Eau de Toilette version of Chanel No. 5. So you're thinking basically a floral aldehyde with a very woody background. That was kind of the structure of several perfumes back in those days. So oh dear, what is L'Interdit? Let's just say that the perfume pyramid has a lot of fruit in it, like strawberries and pears and peaches and things like that. This is old juice, so I don't smell any of those fruits anymore. But what I do smell is a very heavily loaded aldehydic top. And if you haven't smelled, they don't make aldehydes like this anymore, but if you have not smelled those old school heavy, they're considered to be like laundry aldehydes. They're soapy, they're shimmering, they're Chanel No. 22, they're Chanel No. 5, they're Estee Lauder White Linen, that's another example. If you've ever smelled any of those perfumes, that's the aldehydic top of the original L'Interdit. Now, what's really special about this is, man, they just don't make it like they used to. This is a lovely, stunning, beautiful iris perfume. So the shimmering aldehydes, those soapy, old-fashioned 1950s aldehydes, they hit your skin and then they start to decrease. And what blooms underneath it is dark, earthy, powdery iris. I'm not alone in loving iris. Nowadays, there's plenty of iris synthetic molecules, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with synthetics to be used in, but orris root is expensive. Iris is expensive to make. It's made out of the rhizome. It's you need tons and tons and tons of iris roots to even get a little tiny bit of the iris butter and this and that. But what is in here is the real deal. This character is iris. It's all iris, and it's powdery, and it's dark, and it's woody, and it's earthy. The other florals in here are iris with violet and a little bit of rose. And as it dries down, there is a little bit of like a spicy carnation. Not too much, but you just get these little hits of like clove and carnation and things like that. Another floral profile that isn't used in perfumery very much anymore. As it dries down even more, it gets even darker, and you have lovely sandalwood, lovely vetiver, lovely oak moss. And these are all things that I love, but aren't really that popular nowadays. So that's the character of this. And it is very kind of like this low-key, what today would be kind of almost androgynous, but thinking that it was made for Audrey Hepburn, who was like the epitome of beauty and femininity at the time. It's just interesting how the style changes. So if that sort of thing is up your alley, or if you really love like a woody iris, this is for you. The Now, the L'Interdit from 2006, which even now is what, like 15 years ago, it's not recent. This is very true to spirit. It does not smell like the older version. It just doesn't, because it can't. You know, some of those ingredients are unobtainable, illegal, or, you know, they're just not going to use those kind of almost offensive aldehydes that were used in the 50s. They're just not going to. But the interesting thing about this, and I remember I said that this has overlap with Chanel No. 5. You know, you have that aldehydic top, floral heart, and a very dark wooded base. So what is interesting to me is that in 2006, 2007, Chanel also reissued a version of Chanel No. 5 called Eau Premiere. And this smells a lot like Eau Premiere, because this also has aldehydes, but it has like this kind of light, floaty, ylang-ylang based aldehydic top. It's still a little bit soapy. It's still aldehyde, but it's like modern aldehydes. The other kind of neat thing about this, and historically, L'Interdit was supposed to have strawberry and peach notes, so it's not like they're just being like, well, we got to throw some fruit in for, you know, modern tastes. The aldehydes are infused with this very pretty and true to the source, but not super sweet and syrupy, more airy than anything else. Strawberry and peach. It's almost like if there was a such thing as peach powder and strawberry powder infused in a cloud of aldehyde, that would be this. So it's actually pleasant and girly and light and floaty when you first put it on. Then as it wears down, much like the predecessor, you have a very pretty iris that is a little bit dark. Like all of a sudden it's like, it's yang-ylang, it's floaty, it's high, it's pretty, and then it darkens. So I think that's kind of neat and kind of true to the way the perfume used to be. There's a lot of iris, there's a bit of rose, there's some violet, it's powdery, it's earthy, it's true to the source. And as it dries down, although the base is not quite as dark as that with, you know, oak moss, sandalwood, and vetiver, this still has like a sandalwood, vetiver, or a sprinkle of earthy iris dry down in the base. I think that's it. I just have been wearing these a lot lately, and, you know, I talk about what I'm wearing and what's on my shelf, and just for anyone that does like L'Interdit that came out now, it's just interesting to me how much it changed. And, you know, LVMH just owns all of those perfume companies. They own Guerlain, they own Dior, they own Givenchy. And instead of creating something new, they just kind of misappropriated from the past, because what's on the shelf now is not what it is. But if you're interested in, like, you know, a very pretty and cousin of, again, this is very, very close to Chanel No. 5 Eau Premiere. It's the first thing I thought of when I smelled this. And it's funny because the perfumer for this is not listed, and they came out like exactly at the same time. So I almost wonder, did they have the same perfumer even? Like, I don't know, but Chanel isn't involved with this company, but, you know, they move around and stuff like that. So, I think that's all I have to say about this. Very feminine, very pretty, easy to wear. This is a little darker, but man, this is worth searching out just for that iris. Iris is very special, and iris never goes bad. I think that the top notes of this have probably degraded over time, but that iris heart is still as lovely and earthy, as strong as it was probably when it was first bottled. So I hope you liked my review of Givenchy L'Interdit, and that's it for Wendy's Parade. I hope you all are having a good day, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.